morning. Hello, my name is Lorice Douglas and I'm from the Pilbara in Western Australia, a town called Roban, but I live and work at Port Hedland. I work at the Wangama Pilbara Aboriginal Language Centre doing Ngaluma language. And I would also like to acknowledge the Gadigal people of this land country and also the past and present people of this land. And I would also like to thank Arrow and my auntie here, Victoria Hoban, for the invite to come along to this Arrow conference, which I really enjoyed. Now, I would like to say Warawarni-gu Guma statement, that's mean healing together in Ngurin Ngaluma, acknowledged to the Ngurin Ngaluma cultural boss, my father Tim Douglas. And now I would also give it to my auntie Maria, where she can read this.
Good morning, everyone. Again, I'd like to acknowledge the Gadigal people and whose country we're on. Also, a thank you to ANROWS for supporting Lorice and I to come here, and also to Vicky Hovan, who's facilitated that. Our statement to all of you is that we are the First Nations people of this country. We need a new way, our way for addressing family violence in our communities. A way that recognises the impact of intergenerational trauma on our people, our families and our communities. Our cultural knowledge base is valid. Our kinship and skin group relationships are important. What we have to say is legitimate. We have strengths and resources. We are strong and adaptive. Our women and men have equally important but different and complementary roles in our families and communities. Our women and girls and our men and boys must have a strong voice, a seat at the table, to be the architects of our own lives, our own destinies. This is our fundamental human right. Nothing about our mob without our mob. This is not a slogan. This is critical not only for our healing, but for yours as our fellow Australians. This is a starting point for our relationship. Our children are important, and so is our obligation to make sure we are giving them the best start in life that we can, growing them up strong and healthy in body, mind and spirit, and culture, to know and show the respect that is central to our culture throughout all of their actions. When working with us, you must identify the right people to engage with. We must include our cultural bosses and not just the CEOs and managers of organisations in the community. You all enjoy a positive legacy as a result of our dispossession. You have a responsibility to ensure we have a strong voice about our realities and to support our solutions. Solutions that come from our cultural knowledge bases. These are cultural responses, not cultural adaptations, where being inclusive seems to mean assimilation in practice, or being included at the last minute or as an afterthought. Co-design means taking a blank page approach where we set the parameters. We say what's in the foreground, we say what's in the background, and all the complexity within. We need an open and transparent process about where and how data is collected, and where and how research is conducted and by whom. This data collection must, as a first step, be based on our stories about our realities. This provides the foundations to knowing what needs to be asked, how it needs to be asked, and who should ask the questions. We need data sovereignty. Our data must be owned and controlled by us. We need to establish a system where our people have access to our data and our stories, a system where we can see who is using the data and how the data is being used. It's not okay to continue to compare us and our data to data from non-Indigenous people. A more valid way to use our data is to track our progress, to tell the story of our journey over time. These are our truths. We want you to accept them. Finally, we want to say that family and sexual violence is not our culture. Alcohol and other drugs is destroying our culture, our peoples, and our future generations. These things are causing harm in our families and communities, and we put a call out to our leaders across the country and invite them to stand with us in solidarity against those who are causing us harm. We invite our men, our brothers, uncles and cultural leaders to stand with us, to come together to work on solutions for us all, our young ones, our men and women together. We invite our women to support our men to stand with us, to work with us in healing the tears in the fabric of our physical, spiritual, mental and cultural integrity as the First Nations, or First Peoples of this country. Thank you.
Now, what this Auntie Maria just read, so I'm just going to break it down into Aboriginal culture, because us Aboriginal people from the Pilbara and Kimberleys and Northern Territory, we all live in two worlds. So I'm going to invite you into the Aboriginal world. Now, when you go and work out in the communities or in the local towns around the Pilbara, Kimberleys and Northern Territory, you go there and introduce yourself, or you go and ask who are the cultural authority leaders. So when you met up with the cultural authority leaders, and that way then you can have that good working relationship with them. So you can start from up there, then work your way down on the Aboriginal society, and in the white society then you have to work your way down and work way back up again, because that's the two worlds that we live in. And you don't listen to the false leaders, because we had enough of the false leaders. The false leaders are taken in control and given the governments and the social workers, given them the false information, and that's what we don't want in our community. And with skin colour and kinship, for instance, for myself, I'm a Garimara, and where I work in the community, because like I said, that we are still very strong with our Lauren culture, and I'm a Garimara, so I have to work with the Banaga. Banaga is my cousin, because we got that avoidance with our son-in-laws, because that's why we work separate from men's. So we got to always look for our cousins, so we can work beside them, because we got that avoidance with our son-in-laws. So that way we can live and work in a healthy relationship in all areas. Yeah. Yeah, so that's all. I just wanted to break it down to that. So if anyone got any questions, they can come and speak to me later after this, after my talk. After my speech. Thank you.